School. Signal. Signal. Integrated school. Live integrated school. फ्रेम पट्टू कैमरा फ्रेम फ्रेम అన్న ఫోన్ కొంచెం ఇక్కరండి నా ఫోన్ లైవ్ పోతుంది అన్న ఫోన్ కొంచెం సిమెంట్ కొంచెం అటు ఒకటి జరగను అటు పక్క కొంచెం పక్క కింద పెట్టలేకుండా సిమెంట్ కొంచెం అటు ఒకటి జరగను అటు పక్క కొంచెం మనం అందరం కింద పెట్టలేకుండా మనం అందరం
Hi students, good evening everyone. Welcome back to our channel Computer Science All Technologies. First time on channel చూస్తున్నట్టయితే లైక్ చేయడం, షేర్ చేయడం, సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోవడం అయితే మర్చిపోకండి. కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ లో ఉన్న సబ్జెక్ట్స్ కి రిలేటెడ్ వీడియోస్ అన్ని కూడా నేను చేస్తూ ఉంటాను. మీరు వాచ్ చేసిన వీడియోస్ లో ఏమైనా మీకు డౌట్స్ ఉంటే మన ఛానల్లో వాచ్ చేసిన వీడియోస్ కి డౌట్స్ ఉంటే మీకు కామెంట్ బాక్స్ లో టెక్స్ట్ చేయండి. ఖచ్చితంగా నేనైతే రిప్లై ఇస్తాను. మీకు కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ లో ఏమైనా వీడియోస్ కావాలంటే కన్ఫర్మ్గా నేనైతే ఆ వీడియోస్ చేస్తాను. మీరు కామెంట్ బాక్స్లో టెక్స్ట్ చేయండి. ఆ వీడియోస్ అయితే నేను చేయడానికి ట్రై చేసి కన్ఫర్మ్గా అయితే వీడియోస్ అయితే చేస్తాను. చేసి మన ఛానల్లో అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను. మన ఛానల్లో అప్లోడ్ చేసిన వీడియోస్ నోటిఫికేషన్స్ అన్ని కావాలి అనుకుంటే మీకు మన ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోవడం అయితే మర్చిపోకండి. బెల్ ఐకాన్ మీద క్లిక్ చేయండి. మన ఛానల్లో చేసిన వీడియోస్ అన్ని కూడా మీకు నోటిఫికేషన్ అయితే వస్తుంది. మన ఛానల్ అయితే సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయడం, లైక్ చేయడం, షేర్
రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వ బ్రాండ్ గా ఉన్నటువంటి
కన్ఫర్మ్ గా నేను రిప్లై
ఇండియా
మీకు ఏమైనా
ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్
టెక్స్ట్ అయితే చేయండి. స్టూడెంట్స్ రోజు మనం
ఈ రాష్ట్రంలో
శాంక్షన్ చేసుకొని మనం ఏం వీడియో అయితే ఇక్కడ చేసామంటే
ఆ స్కూల్స్ ద్వారా
సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్ వాళ్ళకి
లక్షలాది మంది
సిలబస్ 23-24 లో
విద్యార్థులకి ప్రపంచ స్థాయి విద్యా బోధన అందించడమే కాకుండా
ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అనేవి
అద్భుతమైనటువంటి ప్రజ్ఞా పాఠవాలతో
చేసి నేను ఈ వీడియో
ప్రపంచంతో పోటీ పడటం కోసం కావాల్సినటువంటి ఏర్పాట్లు ఇండియా ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ లో పొందుపరచడం జరిగింది.
వాట్ ఈస్ ఎంఎస్ వుడ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ద ఫ్యూచర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎంఎస్.
ముందుగా ఆ రోజు మేము అనౌన్స్ చేసినప్పుడు
ఈ లాంగ్ ఆన్సర్స్ చదివితే మనకి
చాలా మంది హాస్యాస్పదంగా చూశారు.
చేయొచ్చు.
సాధ్యమా
ఫస్ట్ యూనిట్ లో వచ్చేసి
ప్రకటనకే పరిమితం అవుతుందని,
10 మార్క్స్ క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చేసి
లేకపోతే ఆనాటి టిఆర్ఎస్ పార్టీ
అయితే 1 పేజ్ సరిపోతుంది.
ప్రతి మండలానికి 3 తగ్గకుండా ఎల్కేజీ టు పీజీ వరకు అనౌన్స్ చేసినటువంటి
వాట్ ఈస్ ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్ అంటే
కాలేజీలో ఇది కూడా అయిపోతుందేమో, కొత్తగా ప్రకటన చేసి వదిలేస్తారేమో అనుకున్నాం.
ఫ్యూచర్స్ అనేవి అడుగుతారు. ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ద ఫ్యూచర్స్
కానీ
ఫ్యూచర్స్ వరకు రాస్తే
అలా కాకుండా సంకల్ప బలంతో
కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎంఎస్ వర్డ్
చిత్తశుద్ధితో
కూడా మనకి అడుగుతారు.
వీటిని ముందుకు తీసుకొని పోవాలనేటువంటి ఆలోచనతోనే
ముందుగా
కూడా
చదువుకోండి.
58 స్కూల్స్ ని
ఫిఫ్త్ క్వశ్చన్ హౌ టు క్రియేట్
ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా శాంక్షన్ చేయడం జరిగింది.
ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తాము, డాక్యుమెంట్ ని ఎలా ఓపెన్ చేస్తాం, క్లోజ్
అందులో
చేస్తాం అనేది 10 మార్క్స్ కండి. ఇది
మధ్య శాసనసభ నియోజకవర్గంలో ఉన్నటువంటి బోనకల్ మండలంలో ఉన్న లక్ష్మీపురం గ్రామంలో ఉన్నటువంటి ఇండియా రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్ కూడా ఉంది.
అడగచ్చు. 7th క్వశ్చన్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అబౌట్ ద
58 స్కూల్స్ శాంక్షన్ చేసిన తర్వాత రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా ఈ స్కూల్స్ పైన ఉన్నటువంటి డిమాండ్
ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలి. హెడర్స్
ప్రజల నుంచి పెద్ద ఎత్తున అర్జీలు రావడంతో సరే ఆర్థిక భారం అయినప్పటికీ కూడా మన సంపద మన ఆలోచన మొత్తం కూడా పిల్లల భవిష్యత్తు కోసమే కదా, వారి భవిష్యత్తు మన భవిష్యత్తుగా భావించాలి కదా అని వారి భవిష్యత్తుని మా బాధ్యతగా తీసుకొని రాష్ట్ర ముఖ్యమంత్రి రేవంత్ రెడ్డి గారు కానీ యావత్ క్యాబినెట్ గారు మా బాధ్యతగా తీసుకొని పిల్లల భవిష్యత్తే మా బాధ్యత అని చెప్పి వారి కోసం అదనంగా మరొక 47 స్కూల్స్ ని ప్రాసెస్ చేసి శాంక్షన్ చేస్తాం. మొత్తంగా మరొక సంవత్సరమే
నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చేసి
105 స్కూల్స్ ని ఇటువంటి స్కూల్స్ ని రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా శాంక్షన్ చేసుకుని ముందుకు పోతా ఉన్నాం. ఒక్కొక్క స్కూల్ అందరికీ తెలిసింది కావాల్సినటువంటి రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ స్టాండర్డ్స్ లో ఉండాల్సినటువంటి ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియంతో సిలబస్ తో పాటు స్పోర్ట్స్ సంబంధించినటువంటి అన్ని ఫెసిలిటీ స్టేడియం కానీ ఫుట్బాల్ స్టేడియం కానీ ఇతరత్ర ఇండోర్ గేమ్స్ కానీ ఇతరత్ర అవుట్డోర్ గేమ్స్ కానీ అన్ని కూడా అందులో ఉండేటట్టుగా పెద్ద ఎత్తున డిజైన్ చేసి కనీసం 25 ఎకరాలు ఉండేటట్టుగా ఈ స్కూల్స్ అన్నిటికీ డిజైన్ ఆ స్కూల్ ప్రాంగణంలోనే పిల్లలకి విద్యా బుద్ధులు నేర్పించేటువంటి టీచింగ్ స్టాఫ్ కూడా రెసిడెన్షియల్ క్వార్టర్స్ కూడా వాళ్ళకు కూడా అందులోనే పొందుపరచడం జరిగింది. వాళ్ళెవరు బయట నుంచి రావటం విద్యార్థులు వదిలేసి వెళ్ళటం కాకుండా వాళ్ళకు కూడా పాఠాలు చెప్పేటువంటి ప్రతి కూడా అదే పాఠశాలలో ఉండేటట్టుగా వాళ్ళకు కూడా అందుపరచడమే కాకుండా ఆ స్కూల్ మెయింటెనెన్స్ కావాల్సినటువంటి విద్యుత్తును చూసేటువంటి వాళ్ళు కానీ మంచినీటి వసతులు చూసేటువంటి వాళ్ళు కానీ ఆ స్కూల్ సంబంధించినటువంటి సెక్యూరిటీ చూసేటువంటి వాళ్ళకు కూడా అందులోనే రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఏర్పాటు చేసి అక్కడే ఉండి ఆ పాఠశాలకు కావాల్సిన ఏర్పాట్లు నిరంతర పర్యవేక్షణ జరిగేటట్టుగా దాంట్లో ఏర్పాటు చేయడం. చివరికి యాంపీ థియేటర్ కూడా అందులో పెట్టడం ఈ పాఠశాలలో డిజిటల్ క్లాస్ రూమ్స్ వాటితో పాటు ఇంటర్నేషనల్ స్టాండర్డ్స్ లో ఉండేటట్టుగా సైన్స్ అండ్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ లో కూడా వాటితో పాటు డిఫరెంట్ లెవెల్లో టీచింగ్ ఉండేటట్టు ఎక్స్పర్ట్స్ ఇందులో నియమించేటువంటి ప్రక్రియ కూడా దీంట్లో ఏర్పాటు చేయడం నీట్ గానీ లేకపోతే ఇతర కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ తర్ఫీదిచ్చేటువంటి అధ్యాపక బృందాన్ని కూడా ఇందులో ప్రత్యేకంగా నియమించడం జరుగుతుంది. ఈ పాఠశాలలో చేరినటువంటి విద్యార్థి 12వ తరగతి వరకు ఇక్కడే చదువుకొని మెరికల్ లాగా తయారై ప్రపంచానికి అద్భుతమైనటువంటి మేధస్సుతో కూడినటువంటి మానవ వనరులను అందించడమే ఈ యంగ్ ఇండియా ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ యొక్క కాన్సెప్ట్. సానబట్టిన వజ్రాల్లాగా తయారు చేసి అత్యంత విలువైనటువంటి మానవ వనరులుగా మనం ఇక్కడ నుంచి సానబట్టిన వజ్రాల్లాగా తయారు చేసి అతని మేధస్సుతో ఈ సమాజానికి రాష్ట్రానికి దేశానికి కాదు ప్రపంచానికి కూడా తన జ్ఞానాన్ని అందించగలిగే స్థాయిలో విద్యా బుద్ధులు యంగ్ ఇండియా ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ లో ఏర్పాటు చేయబడ్డాయి. నాకు తెలిసి భారతదేశంలో ఎక్కడ కూడా రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఈ స్థాయిలో ఇంత స్టాండర్డ్స్ తో నాకు తెలిసి అక్కడ రెసిడెన్షియల్
ట్యాబ్ మెను
ఈ యంగ్ ఇండియా ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ 105 స్కూల్స్ సంబంధించి
అయితే 10 మార్క్స్
దాదాపు 21,000 కోట్ల రూపాయలు ఖర్చు పెట్టేటువంటి కార్యక్రమాన్ని
ఎక్కువ కూడా మనకి ఫస్ట్
విద్య కోసం ఈ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ప్రజాప్రభుత్వం ప్రజల కోసం ఉపయోగించడానికి సిద్ధంగా ఉంది అని ఈ సందర్భంగా మీడియా ద్వారా రాష్ట్ర ప్రజలందరికీ తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాం. భవిష్యత్తులో ఈ దేశంలో ఉన్న ప్రతి రాష్ట్రం తెలంగాణకు వచ్చి తెలంగాణ మోడల్లో ఈ దేశంలో విద్యా బుద్ధులు నేర్పాలి అని చెప్పి తెలంగాణలో అందరూ మోడల్లో విధంగా
మాస్టర్ స్లైడ్స్
పాఠశాలలు ఉంటాయి.
నిజంగా చేంజింగ్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్
యంగ్ ఇండియా ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ స్కూల్స్ ని
యాడింగ్ క్లిప్ అవుట్ అండ్
తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రజలకు అందించేటువంటి అవకాశం
క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చేసి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అబౌట్
భాగ్యం
కస్టమ్ యానిమేషన్స్ అండ్
ఈ రాష్ట్ర ప్రజలు ఈ ప్రజాప్రభుత్వానికి
ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అబౌట్ ద స్లైడ్ షో వ్యూ అండ్
నేను కలిగించినటువంటి
ఇన్సెట్టింగ్
మీ దీవెలతో ఏర్పడిన ఈ ప్రభుత్వం ప్రతి రూపాయ పోగేసి
ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్
ప్రజల భవిష్యత్తు కోసమే వారి జీవన స్థితిగతులు మెరుగుపరచడం కోసమే
కూడా మనకి 10 మార్క్స్
ఖర్చు పెట్టే కార్యక్రమంలో భాగంగా ఇటువంటి స్కూల్స్ డిజైన్ చేసి ఈ రోజు మనం మొదలు పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం.
మీరు
ఈ రోజు ఇక్కడ భూమి పూజ ఆనాడు శిలాఫలకం వేశాం, ఆ తర్వాత టెండర్ పిలిచాం, పనులు మొదలుపెట్టే కార్యక్రమానికి ఇక్కడ నాంది పలికాం. ఈ రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా జరిగేటువంటి ప్రక్రియ ఇది. మొదలుపెట్టే కార్యక్రమాన్ని ప్రతి శాసనసభ నియోజకవర్గంలో మొదటి దశలో కనీసం ఒక్క స్కూలు తగ్గకుండా ఇటువంటి ఏర్పాట్లు చేస్తా ఉన్నాం.
అవన్నీ కూడా నీట్
ఈ పాఠశాలలో
కూడా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసి డయాగ్రామ్ అంటే వేయాలి.
డైట్ కానీ
అంటే మనకి ఇన్సిడెంట్స్ అయితే
లేకపోతే
మనకి
టీచింగ్ కానీ
ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ మీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే
ఒక ఆరోగ్యవంతమైనటువంటి మెదడు శారీరక ఆరోగ్యం పెరగటానికి కావాల్సిన విధంగా
సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోవడం మర్చిపోకండి.
ఏర్పాట్లు ఉంటాయి.
Welcome to another insightful session at English Speeches. Today, we're diving into a powerful speech delivered by Subramanyam Jaishankar, India's Minister for External Affairs, at the 77th session of the UN General Assembly. Discover how India celebrates its 75 years of independence, the visionary steps under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, and the country's future pledges. Learn how these points connect to broader global issues like multilateralism, environmental care, and international diplomacy.
తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాం.
Learn how these points
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Madam President, Excellencies, distinguished members of the General Assembly, I bring to you the greetings of 1.3 billion plus people from the world's largest democracy. They join me in congratulating the President of the General Assembly, Ambassador Chaba Koroshi, on his election to chair the 77th session of the UN General Assembly. They follow closely developments at the United Nations, reflecting the increasingly globalized nature of our existence. We meet at a challenging time for the world order. This session's theme, a watershed moment, transformative solutions to interlocking challenges, seeks to capture its seriousness. Excellencies, the year 2022 is an important milestone in India's journey towards growth, development and prosperity. India is celebrating 75 years of its independence, what we call Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The story of that period has been one of toil, of determination, innovation and enterprise of millions of ordinary Indians. They are rejuvenating a society pillaged by centuries of foreign attacks and colonialism. And they are doing so in a democratic framework whose steady progress is reflected in more authentic voices and grounded leadership. In a democratic framework, this new India, under the visionary and dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is a confident and resurgent society. Its agenda for our centenary will be achieved through the 5 pledges that we committed to on our Independence Day. 1. We are resolved to make India a developed country in the next
basically
25
ran a
years.
usability test.
For the world,
Okay.
that creates
Which
more capacity
which
to
actually
make
they
global
created the 41
Two,
different shades of
we will
ran,
liberate ourselves
and they
from a
publish it,
colonial
and then they
mindset.
analyze it which one is
Externally,
getting the more clicks.
this means reformed multilateralism
And also usability
and more
studies proves that
contemporary
some
global governance.
then they analyze it.
3. Our rich civilizational heritage will be a source of pride and of strength. This includes care and concern for the environment, so ingrained in our traditional ethos. 4. We will promote greater unity and solidarity. This expresses a coming together on global issues such as terrorism, pandemics, or the environment. And 5, we will instill consciousness of duties and responsibilities. This applies to nations as much as it does to citizens.
There are slight
These 5
differences
pledges
in
affirm our
in the
age-old
shade of
outlook
blue
that
that
sees
lead
the
to a
world as one
significant
family. We
engagement.
believe that national good and
So
global good
basically that is
can be
the one you see,
entirely
the finalized one, the blue color
It is
that
this
we see,
conviction
Google
that led us
uses
to
for their
supply
all
vaccines
the CTAs
to
and
over
hyperlinks and
100
all of
nations.
that. That is the winner
Similarly,
in a way.
our evacuation
And that actually
operations,
resulted in a because
HADR
Google is used
situations
worldwide, like
always
so
had
many
room
users
for other nations.
Google already have. So it is for them it's $1 million
Even as we meet our own development
change.
targets, India
So
offers
the
partnerships
takeaway from this
to our
story is
brothers
like
and sisters
even a
in Asia,
small
in Africa,
makes,
and Latin America.
like if
And we
that
do
is
so
backed up by
based
the
on their
usability
needs
testing,
and their priorities.
can have a massive
Today,
impact on
the focus
your
is on
users'
green growth,
engagement
better
and of course the growth
connectivity,
of the
digital
company
delivery, and
at the
accessible
bottom.
health.
So both of these
Our solidarity
qualitative and
is
quantitative
not just in
user
words.
testing perform
You can
best
see them
when users
in 700 projects
conjunction
across the
with
world.
one another.
Madam
Both are
President,
basically
even while
can
India
be
contributes to
user
global
load.
betterment, we recognize the sharp
User load
deterioration
refers to
in the
both our
international
cognitive and
landscape.
emotional demand
The
placed
world
on
is
user
already
when
struggling
interacting with
with
digital
challenges
products.
of post-pandemic
It
economic
encompasses
growth.
factors such as
The debt
complexity,
situation
speed,
of the developing world is
as well as
precarious.
users' expectation and
To this
maintenance.
is now added the
Somebody was
rising costs
mentioning in the
and the shrinking
chat
availability
for some
of fuel,
the question,
of food,
use word
and of
like cognitive
fertilizers.
load. So
These,
this is what
along
it
with
is
trade
called
disruptions
actually.
and
You can say
diversions,
cognitive load.
are among the many
So when
consequences
user
of the
interact with
Ukraine
your
conflict.
app or website,
The
they are
Indo-Pacific
basically
too
dealing with
witnesses
this
fresh
cognitive
concerns
and
about
emotional
stability
demand placed
and
on them.
security.
If
And climate
let's say
events
a process
have
is too
added an
complex,
overlay
slow,
on these mounting
or
anxieties.
inconsistent,
As we
user
saw
can
in
directly
the case of
abandon
the COVID pandemic,
task or
the
flow or
South
whatever.
will be the most
Right?
impacted,
If you
even if
observe
the
yourself,
immediate
you
causes
can also, if you
are
find,
well beyond.
let's say if I tell
It is
you to use the
imperative
tally software,
that
and
global
you have no idea,
conversations
right?
recognize
Or if I tell you to
this
use,
deep
let's say,
unfairness. The
Adobe
inequity
Maya
of
software,
vaccine
let's say,
distribution
or 3ds
should not be
Max,
replicated
right? If you had
in
to
other
just
domains.
fiddle around with it,
Madam
you would find it
President,
more complex.
as the
If I
Ukraine
tell you to use
conflict
government
continues to
websites
rage,
for that matter,
we are often
you would
asked
try to click
whose
on some
side are
button,
we
it will take time,
and our answer
slow,
each time
again,
is straight
you might not
and
want
honest.
to go through that
India
particular
is on the side of peace and
so
will
what is
remain
actually
firmly
happening?
rooted. We
Your
are on the
mind
side
is always
that
trained
respects
on
the UN
thinking
Charter
about
and its
whatever
founding
it
principles.
is. It is there.
We are on the
screen.
side that calls for dialogue
And
and
if your
diplomacy as the
website
only
or
way
app
out.
is more complex,
We are on the side
then again
of
it
those
will
struggling
induce
to make
more
ends meet,
questions in users' mind.
even as
And
they
why it is
stare
happening? Why
at
is
the
it like that?
escalating costs
What happens when I
of
click
food,
over there? What happens when I
fuel,
do this
and
thing? I want to do
fertilizers.
something.
It is
Where can I
therefore
find
in
it?
our
And all of
collective
this,
interest
if there is a
to
complexity,
work
and
constructively,
if the response
both
time is
within the
very also
United
slow,
Nations and
again,
outside,
lot of
in
more
finding
questions. Okay,
an
why it
early
is not happening? Is my internet
resolution
slow on,
to
or
this
my
conflict.
internet is slow, or on the server
Excellencies,
side is the problem,
while the
or
global
maybe
attention
government
has been on
website is
Ukraine,
it's not working, or
India has
whatever it
also
is.
had to
Like it
contend with
induces
other
lot of
challenges,
question, lot of
especially
emotional
in its
demands
own
are also
neighborhood.
there, right? We feel
Some of them may
this is
be
confusing.
aggravated by the
It
COVID
feels like
pandemic
this is
and
very
ongoing conflicts,
slow and
but they
lazy.
speak too
And if the
of a
website is
deeper malaise.
inconsistent,
Some of them
like
the accumulation of debt
it is more on the
in fragile
Jacob's law.
economies
If you
is of
are
particular
habitual to
concern.
do certain work in a certain
We
manner,
believe
but
that in
it
such
is not
times,
your app
the
is actually not
international
consistent
community
with that.
must rise
Then
above
again,
narrow
the
national
mental
agendas.
workload will increase.
India,
And that
for
is
its part,
when we
is
say
taking
the cognitive
exceptional
load has
measures
increased.
in
The
exceptional
cognitive
times.
and the emotional
We do
combines
so
is the
when we
user
send
load.
50,000 metric
So
tons
that is
of
what
wheat
it is called,
and multiple
called as
tranches of
user
medicines
load.
and vaccines to
So,
Afghanistan.
for example, let's say,
When we
let me
extend
give you another
credits
example. It's like,
of
let's say if you are
$3.8
designing
billion
an Uber app,
to Sri Lanka for
so,
fuel,
or
essential
any particular app,
commodities, and
let's not
trade
only Uber app or something.
when we
Your
supply
main focus
10,000 metric
should
tons
be,
of food aid
when you are
and
actually on
vaccine
the Uber, your
shipments
main
to
focus should
Myanmar,
be how you can
when we fill the gap
declutter the screen.
in humanitarian needs left
Declutter the
unaddressed
options.
by political
Like when you are
complexity.
decluttering this thing, that is
Whether
when
it
you are
is
actually
disaster response
reducing the
or
visual
humanitarian
load.
assistance,
Okay? There are a lot of
India
options
has
on the
stood
screen.
strong,
There are a lot of
contributing
animations or
particularly
UIs on
to
the
those
screen that is
nearest to
actually
us.
increasing the visual load, right?
Excellencies,
So you have to
the
always
world,
think your
as we knew
visual
it,
load has to be minimal.
is poised for
There has to be,
transformational
even if you are
changes.
drawing a single
It has
line,
been impacted
there
in
has to
recent
be
times
reason to draw
by
that
a
particular
succession
line.
of shocks,
Okay.
each
The
of them
next thing
significant
is your
by itself.
workflow. You should be
The COVID
minimizing
pandemic
the excessive
called
clicks.
into question
When you are
the
adding more clicks,
over-centralized
let's say
nature
to
of
go through a
globalization
particular process,
and has
you are
led
actually
all of us
adding
to seek
motor load.
greater
Like
resilience
user has to
and
do a lot of
reliability
movement in
of
the
supply
way.
chains.
User has to click on
The
next, then
repercussions
user has
of the
to
ongoing
click
Ukraine
somewhere on the top
conflict
side of
have
the
further
screen.
heightened
In the next screen, they
economic
have to click on
stresses,
somewhere bottom of the
especially
screen,
on
left
food
side,
and
right
energy.
side. If you are adding this particular
Climate
something, it's
events
not consistent
have added to
also,
disruption
it
that the world is already
increases the
facing.
motor load.
As for the
So
promise
you
of
have to think how to
technology,
minimize that.
it has certainly
And if the
multiplied our
navigation is
capabilities,
confusing,
but
or if
also
whatever the
added to our
content you are
vulnerabilities.
writing, the UX copy
Trust
is not
and
right, or if
transparency
it is
are
confusing,
legitimate
or it is
expectations
using
of a
some
more digitized
technical
world.
jargon, then
The
it
quest to
increases
create
the
a better
cognitive
global
load,
order
right?
would
There will be
necessarily have to
confusion
address
in navigation,
all these
confusion
issues.
in
Among
understanding
them,
what it is
some are
saying in the
clearly
way,
more
what the
existential in
screen is
nature
communicating, and
and
all of this.
necessitate
So visual
intense
load,
coordination
motor
by
load,
the
and
international
cognitive
community.
load, you have to decrease. You have to think
Climate
about
action
decreasing all of
and
this
climate justice
when you are
are
designing
particularly
visual load.
noteworthy in this respect.
So always
In their
use
pursuit, India
minimalistic
has worked
visual
with
design.
partners on the
See,
International
yeah.
Solar
Oh, I think
Alliance,
this thing is very,
One
very
Sun,
So you have to
One
minimize
World,
the
One
visual
Grid
load,
initiative,
motor load,
and the
cognitive
coalition
load, as I said.
for disaster resilient infrastructure.
How to
We
reduce
stand ready
the user
to
load
support any
is
collective
like when
and
you have to
equitable
reduce the
endeavor
visual load,
to protect
you have
our
to
environment
think about
and to
using
further
minimalistic
global
visual
welfare.
loads. Okay? Like the Apple does.
Lifestyle for environment
All of their
or life,
website or application.
as declared by Prime Minister Narendra
minimal
Modi
visual
last
load.
week
There is
on the
nothing
sidelines of COP26
unnecessary on the
is
screen.
our
Or some
homage
illustration is
to
just
Mother
there
Nature.
for there. You might not find it
India
Apple using
remains
it in such a
deeply
particular
committed
manner.
to fighting
Then
climate change
consistent layout.
under the
Layout has to be
UNFCCC
consistent.
and the
Bold
Paris
hierarchy.
Agreement.
Hierarchy is like
We do so
you have
on
the
the
power to
principle of
guide it
common but
consistent
differentiated
layout, right?
responsibilities
Use a good
and
hierarchy.
respective capabilities
High
in
contrast
the light
so that
of different
everything is
national
legible,
circumstances.
and use generous
We have
white
announced
space. Whenever you have
our
a white space,
updated nationally
whatever the
determined
content you are
contributions
showing, that
after
gets
COP26.
highlighted when there is a generous white space around.
India's
I
steadfast
usually
commitment
call it
to
as a
South-South
breathing
cooperation
space.
is
When
by
you
now
have a breathing
well
space around
established.
anything,
and well
it becomes
recognized.
easier to read.
Our approach
What
is
you can do
based
to
on
reduce the
principles of
overflow?
mutual respect and
Minimum
national
hover
ownership,
interaction.
with a
Let's say if
commitment
you're on your
to
website,
sustainable
everything is on
development
hover,
for all.
then only
As we
user will
begin the
understand
G20
it will
presidency
increase the
this
motion.
December, we are
Large touch
sensitive
targets.
to the
If you
challenges
have a
faced
tiny
by
touch
developing
target,
countries.
minimal touch size
India
should
will
be.
work with
Use
other
the
G20
budget
members
design guidelines,
to
read
address
the
serious
interface
issues of debt,
guidelines.
of
If in an
economic
interview, if
growth,
you give such
food
answers,
and energy
say
security,
no.
and
If you say
particularly
40,
of environment.
no, it would
The
be a
reform of
disaster.
governance
They would
of
understand you
multilateral
haven't
financial
gone
institutions
through the
will continue to be one of our
guidelines.
core priorities.
For iOS it is 44,
Madam
for Android
President,
it is 48.
India
This is
would be
as per their
completing its
guidelines.
tenure as a
The
member
minimal
of the
tappable
Security
size.
Council this
Let's say
year.
if you are creating some
In our term,
how much
we
is
have
the
acted
minimal
as a
tappable
bridge
area that you will
on some
need?
serious but
Let's say you are
divisive
creating a
issues
button.
confronting the
What should be
Council.
the tappable area
We have
for
also
button?
focused
Usually
on
it can
concerns
be
such as
reduced,
maritime security,
but dimension wise,
peacekeeping, and
from the developer
counterterrorism.
side at least it has to give
Our
the
contributions
44
range
pixels.
from
And
providing
you should not
technology
keep any
and
particular
human
element
touch to
in
ensuring
between
safety
those,
and security of UN
it should not come
peacekeepers.
in
As the chair of the Counterterrorism Committee
clickable
this
area
year,
of one icon.
India
Which
will be
should not
hosting its special
coincide
meeting
with the
in Mumbai and New
clickable area
Delhi.
of other icon.
I invite
Are you
all
getting it,
member
Muskan,
states
or
to participate.
I can show it on Figma also.
We need
Say
to
if I am
create
creating
a
a button,
global architecture
I
that
need to
responds
ensure
to the new
it
tech
has to be
tools
48
deployed
pixel
against open, diverse,
at least
and
height.
pluralistic societies.
Minimum size is 48. So minimal height may is 48. Now
Having
if I
borne the
want to
brunt
keep it like
of cross-border
33
terrorism
and
for
this
decades,
width has to be
India
increase in weight
firmly
and all that is
advocates
okay.
a
But
zero
I cannot
tolerance
go
approach.
less than this
In our
less
view,
than 40.
there is no
for
justification
Android.
for any act
So
of terrorism,
on the safer side, what I
regardless of
usually do, I
motivation,
use 48 or I use
and no rhetoric,
whether it is
however
iOS or whether it is
sanctimonious,
Android. But you always
can
have to
ever
think about the
cover
real
up
estate when you are saying
bloodstreams.
50 or you are
The
using
United Nations
the higher value,
responds to terrorism by
you are actually
sanctioning
getting
its
some
perpetrators. Those
some
who
real estate from
politicize
other
the
areas.
UNSC 1267
So
sanctions
always use
regime,
48.
sometimes even to the
size for
extent
your
of
button.
defending proclaimed
So
terrorists.
let's say this will be your
They
button.
do so at their own peril.
Text size
Believe me,
14
they
is
advance
minimum.
neither their own interests
For the
nor
body
indeed
text,
their
for
reputation.
caption you can go for 12.
India has
But
always
if you are
espoused
using anything less
a
than 12,
cooperative,
that will
inclusive,
involve a
and
accessibility.
consultative approach.
Yeah,
to
I'll tell you about the
international
radio
relations.
buttons. How radio buttons are
We
used.
believe
If you are
that
using
multipolarity,
so in iOS you will
rebalancing,
find 44
fair
by 44
globalization,
radio.
and reform multilateralism cannot be kept in abeyance. The call for reformed multilateralism, with reforms of the
For
Security
example,
Council at its core,
this will be in iOS.
enjoys
So the
considerable
overall size,
support
if you see,
among
would
UN
be
members.
48
It
44,
does
sorry.
so because of the widespread recognition that the
Android,
current
it is like this.
architecture is
So the overall size
anachronistic
in Android it is like
and
this. But
ineffective.
let's say if you are having this
It is
smaller
also perceived as deeply unfair,
developer will
denying
use
entire continents and
44 by
regions
44 pixel.
a voice
Like
in
you
a
have to
forum
mention
that
that
deliberates their future.
clickability of this area has to be this
India
much.
is
If you
prepared
click
to
one
take
time,
up
it
greater
will be on.
responsibilities,
One click
but
again,
it seeks,
will be off.
at the same time,
Getting me?
to ensure that the
iOS, you might
injustice
have
faced
noticed
by the
there are
global
the,
south is decisively
they call
addressed.
it
Our call
segment
is to allow
segmented
serious
controls.
negotiations
They
on
look
such a
like this.
critical matter
you
to
have-
proceed
This looks something like
sincerely.
this, and there will be some text.
They must not be
Like
blocked
this tab
by
one.
procedural
This is
tactics.
basically tabs, but in
Naysayers
Android it is called
cannot
segment
hold the
controls.
IGN process
So these are the
hostage
segments they call
in
it.
perpetuity.
In Android you would find it using it as a
These
tab.
turbulent times,
Okay, so you will find
essential
this would be
that the
around
world
34
listens
or
to more voices of reason
around
and
36
experiences
or something.
more
Okay,
acts of goodwill.
but if you go inside
India
the code and
is
you
willing
find what is the
and
actual
able
tappable height
on
they have
both
given,
sides.
it is always like this.
We believe
It will be
and
44 by
advocate
44.
that this is not an
This
era
is the
of
minimal
war
tappable
or of conflict.
tappable area.
On the
So
contrary,
this makes
it is a time for
this
development
ensures
and for
that
cooperation.
user will not have
Madam
a
President,
fat finger problem.
in the past,
They are going to
this
tap on
August
this
Assembly
tab or
served
something,
as a meeting
and
point
let's say if you
for
have
views
certain, let's say
and
this
as a
button is
catalyst
just
for
over
action.
here,
It
just
is
next to
vital
this
that we
in a way.
continue to believe
Without,
in the
let's
promise
say
of
you are adding one
diplomacy
pixel gap or
and the need
something.
for
If you are clicking on tab 2 or something, there are
Therefore,
chances
Madam
that
President,
the button might
let
get
us
slipped
strive
without.
to
So that's
return
why
to
you
the
need to
cause
ensure
of
that there is
seeking
always
peace,
a breathing space
progress,
what you
and prosperity.
keep more spacing, but the button might it should be 44 inches. Let's say, for example, if you're using some
Visit our
icons,
site,
adding icons,
EnglishSpeechChannel.com, for exclusive access
for
to
example,
video transcripts, offline audio, English lessons, and
so
private
for
classes.
example, let's say on
Don't
the
forget to
title
explore
bar,
our free and new ebooks.
I'm going to use these
Also,
icons.
subscribe to our weekly newsletter for the
Now
latest
over here it will
updates.
say
Links in the
this is for
description
example,
below.
if I am on
Thanks
the
for your
title.
support.
But what you should usually do,
Also,
create a
subscribe to
rectangle
our
of
weekly
44 by
newsletter for the
44. Now
latest
over here it is frame of
Links in the
44 by
description
44.
below. Thanks for your support.
Add your icon inside
India's
that.
development,
And let's say you have different
demography,
icons. Okay,
and demand
and when you make
provide
this
a
as a
unique
component set,
long-term
now you
opportunity
should use it
for
so you have
Australia.
different properly as in,
And
let's say the icon is
all
this
in the
icon,
familiar
icon is
framework
this.
of
This icon and this
long-term
icon. Now they are same, but
here
imagine if they are different.
as one of you.
Okay. If you provide
A
no spacing
representative
between them, that is also okay
of the
because you are
people.
already provided the so
I
same,
came
but
to you
imagine padding and all of those
one
things.
of you with the greeting
If you
of
provide, let's say, let me give
1.25 billion people of the
background
nation.
color to this so that it will understand.
That is linked to the Australia
Now, if you keep them close, let's say if
by
you
the
want to
great
have
Indian Ocean,
certain elements and you have a
our
tight spacing,
connected history,
you can do this.
and our many
This is to
shared
keep them close as per the guidelines. It is clickable,
and even more
but you should not
by
do
our
this. in a way.
deeply
You can do this like
interlinked
this, because there is very tight space and you are compromising
And
on the
today,
44 by 44
I've come to
minimal
unite
tappable thing. Then what
in
would
the
happen?
spirit
Let's say if you are going to
as
click this middle
we
icon,
were
this might get
once
clicked in a way.
by
Does
geography.
that mean if we made button or
The
something,
spirit that
we have to give at
is
least
fed by
40%
many
other
starring
clickable
stories
things.
of human
Sorry, Muskan, can you
success
talk and explain
and
what you are trying to
sacrifice.
say?
This morning,
So,
Prime
44
Minister
pixel is the minimal
and I
tappable area for
honor
iOS.
our soldiers
For Android, it is 48. At least
100
iOS
years
and Android
ago,
should
made the
so larger touch
sacrifice
targets,
together
resting spots
battle
for
of
fingers,
Gallipoli.
resting spots as in
The man
like if
who
everything is
designed this
clickable onto your
beautiful
screen,
capital
there is no leg,
Canberra.
and you have a scroll basically
Walter
to do.
Burrell,
And there is no
if he
place to rest your finger
lies
access.
buried
Then also there is a
old
motor
city
load.
of Lucknow
Like there will be
in
some
India.
accidental clicks, and then you will have to go back and come again and all of those things. Right?
More than 150
Always
years
have a
city of Lucknow.
generous
An
white
Australian
space,
novelist,
that is works as good
a lawyer,
yeah,
John
use
Lang,
shortcuts like imagine Figma.
for the
they
legal
might-
background.
If they remove
And
all
a
the shortcuts
brave
and all, we'll
Indian
have to
freedom
go
fighter,
every time in some option and
Queen
select
of
and all of those
Jhansi,
things. It will increase the
Rani
motor
Lakshmi.
load on us. Next one is
Against
reduce cognitive load.
the British
How you can reduce the
East
cognitive
India
load?
Company
Simplify workflow.
in
The more
India's
simplified your processes, the more
first war of independence.
short and sweet your processes.
He also
It
lies
is
buried
going to
in
get
the
good
Indian
results
hill town
also.
of
Users are going to love it
The
because
statue
they
of
will have a less
Gandhi
cognitive load.
in Canberra
And now you
is a
now you
symbol
know where to
of our
use the
shared
cognitive
values.
load word. Okay? You cannot
We
use it
celebrate
anywhere for anything. Let's say
the legend
now
of
cognitive loads are there. It's not
Bradman
like that. You have
and
to
the
use the
class
cognitive
of
load,
Tendulkar
this wording at a
together.
certain places only.
We are
Providing wizards
impressed by
and
Australian
shortcuts. Again, this will reduce the cognitive
speed,
load. Clear information
as you
architecture.
charm
User is getting
by the
lost in
Indian speed
provide the flow
until
in your website
Of
that
course,
will increase the cognitive load.
Shenwan came
Imagine
along.
कभी कभी लगता है अरे आप back कैसे जाऊंगा और
But above
how
all,
can I navigate to some
we are
other
united
pages and all of those things.
by the
That is
ideals
right.
of
Yeah.
democracy.
Because
Today,
because of your
but above
your
all,
information
as I
architecture is
stand,
not
we are
clear.
united in this temple
Increases
of
the motor load
democracy.
as well as the cognitive load. Because
I
going
consider
to the next one, conducting a
nations
usability study.
such as ours
So here are the steps
to be
to
placed
conduct usability study.
because
First is
democracy offers
first is
best
define
opportunity
goals
for the
and
human
methodology.
spirit
Okay.
to flourish.
So basically start by understanding what
Because
you want to achieve.
We have the
Are
freedom
you
to
testing
choose
new feature? So
the
on-
right to speak
on a,
and the
or
power
it's
to
like
move.
a
And for us,
it's like a another
no
iteration
option
of something which
but we will
user is
live with
already
this
familiar.
release.
It's like a okay. what you want to achieve at the end,
generations
what you want to understand from it, that goal you have to define.
have made Australia
And of course, the methodology, how you
one
will
of the great nations of the world today.
recruit representative
From the
users.
vast strength of
Recruiting
territory
is also depends
to
on
the abundant
cohorts. Cohorts means, let's say, in
nature
usually you will find
has
this
been
word
generous to
N2, R2.
But
N2 is
to the
new
abundant,
to.
it is the people of
N2,
Australia
it is written as N2.
who
It's
have
a new
made
to
Australia
certain process.
what it is today.
R2 is repeat user.
It is the people
Then there are
beacon
users
of
like
democracy
aspiring users.
and rule of law.
There are various types of user.
nation
You might be conducting
that
usability
willingly
studies for certain things to understand by the demographic of the users.
one of the most
Demography of
prosperous
it's a
nations
tier 1 cities के लिए, tier 2 cities,
among the
tier
best
3
of human
cities.
development index.
You want to understand from that point of
Nation,
view. So
with some of
depending
the
on the
best
problem
cities,
and what you want to achieve, as per
some
your
of the
goal,
most
you would
productive
recruit
farms,
the users.
nation, some of its
Next is
best
prepare
universities
test protocol
and research
and
centers,
materials.
and advanced technology based,
Include you have to
and
create tasks for
a
your
nation,
users.
some of its best
uh,
with great
much like
sporting
asking them
skills.
to
Australia
like, book a
evolves
flight.
technology based
Okay,
images,
so that is the task that you
not
would
just
give
of
to your
immense
users.
beauty,
And
but
the
also
way they would do,
of a
depending
great
on your
quality of life.
methodology, you will conduct
Today,
the usability testing.
its cities are alive
Next is facilitate
with the
sessions and
richness
observe.
of this world's
Simple.
today,
During your test, you
and
will just observe your user,
is
how they
home to
interact with your product.
450,000 Indians
Then
who are
conduct
as
pre-test briefing. Now
proud
this
to
is
be part of
thing
Australia
is after
as
3 actually it's
they
set
are
up
of
the
their
test
Indian
environment.
heritage.
Basically, if you have a room,
Honorable members,
you will invite
there was a
user.
time
If it is online, then you will
when
share the
for
meeting ID and all of those things. How
many
this
of us,
meeting is being conducted, this
Australia
session is being conducted. Same
was a
way,
distant
you
land.
just set up the environment. To conduct
Southern
pre-test
age of
briefing.
the world.
Pre-test
Today,
briefing is basically
world
like
sees
you would just
Australia
make your user
to be
more
at the
comfortable
heart
in the environment.
Asia
First of all,
Pacific
just tell them they are not,
and
you are not going to
Indian
judge them on anything. It is
This
not,
dynamic region
you are not testing them in a way.
hold the
You
key
have
to
to
this
clear that.
world's
First of all,
future.
it's a usability study. You
Australia
always say,
is at
if you,
cross
I have seen whenever we say test, then users become more cautious of their actions.
and as a
When you say it's a
Australia has
study, we are,
become
I'm just going to study,
more
and
engaged
they basically behave in a
this
much
part of the
more
world.
natural way. Okay,
We welcome
so we'll just brief that it is not
growing role
to judge them or it is
driving
not
this
to
region's
think if
prosperity
you are right
and
or
shaping
wrong or something like
its
that.
security.
That you will do, and then you will facilitate the session and
We
then
in India
observe. For the
seek the
debriefing,
same
you will
future
again communicate
for
to
this
user
world.
how you are going to use
We
this
also
data,
see
why it is
Australia
important to you and all of this.
as a vital part
So that they understand
in
okay,
India's
and
quest
also
for
tell them if once you are
progress
done, you are going to delete or whatever
Australia.
you are going to do this with data.
There are few countries in this
do
world
anything with that particular data.
where we see
You just comfort them.
so much synergy.
Next
as we
is
do
analyze the data and
in
report
Australia.
finding. Of course, we will create, you will analyze
India,
whatever they are saying.
a nation
You will
of
analyze
more
the
than
data.
a so much
We create a
Indian
report and
seeking
then present the
development.
finding and recommendation.
Australia,
You will
a developed
again,
country of a few
give a presentation on that
people
particular
with vast
data and findings that you have.
Just a quick
Since
info,
the
guys.
turn of
IntelliPad
this
offers UI UX course in
India
collaboration
has
with
been
iHub
second
Divya Sampark,
fastest growing
IIT
economy
Roorkee.
in the world.
Through this course, you will learn complete UI UX design
Millions
thinking,
have lifted
interaction designs,
themselves
wireframing, and guerrilla
out of
testing for a
poverty
rewarding UI
into a
UX
new
design
life of
career. This UI UX design course will be taught by IIT faculty and industry experts. With this course, we have already helped thousands of professionals in successful career transition. You can check out their testimonials on our Achievers channel, whose link is given in the description below.
From the remotest village,
Without a doubt, this course can set your career to new heights. So visit the course page link given below in the description and take a first step towards the career growth in the field of UI UX
it is
design.
the energy
So when we work in UX problems,
because there are a lot of times we keep on saying something in the industry or wherever you work that let's use this pattern. Right. So what is a pattern in UX is extremely crucial. See, when you look at a smartphone of a Samsung smartphone versus a Oppo smartphone, they ideally should look different. So they try to bring out some differences. Right. But when we talk about UX, the usability part of it, not the look and feel part of it. The look and feel part is called UI, and the usability or the way we interact with the product, that is the UX. So there are a lot of parts which people build some muscle memory in their brain. Like let us go to examples like Mintra. We'll go to my orders. Okay, Mintra. So in Mintra, if you look at it, let's say I go to this, I go to main and I go to jacket. So this is pattern of e-commerce. So anyone can call out any other e-commerce website. I go to jacket. Amazon. This is pattern of e-commerce. Then Flipkart. So anyone can anything else? Other e-commerce website. Yes. Then we have eBay. So when you look at all these are all similar classification wise, they are similar kind of product. So all of their jobs to be done is what? To help you buy products digitally, right? These are digital commerce platforms. So like you go to a mall, you go to a shop, you buy a product, you go to this place, you do shopping. That is the end jobs to be done. You go and you buy stuff. So when you have the same jobs to be done, if you look at all of these examples, you will see that they share some common philosophies across. Right. So it starts with a broad search bar on the top for everyone. So there is search on the top. So yeah, let us go through the UX part, and that is extremely important for all of you to work on your projects and all. So yeah, let us go through the UX part. So when you look at this whole product holistically, when you go to the homepage of Flipkart, you will see that there are some sections. See, there is a carousel part. It's kind of the advertisement section. So this has an advertisement section. Here also you can see an advertisement section, right? And when you go to eBay, this also has an advertisement section, right? So eBay and Flipkart and Amazon to now because of different Diwali season and all those things, they bring this thing, but it still has this advertisement section. See, it's a carousel, right? So this similarity of thing, it needs a higher level jobs to be done for the end user. The end user is going to a mall and then they are seeing some billboards, right? While entering the mall, something is saying, that this fashion thing is coming up, this food joint is coming up, or this electronics, this smartphone is there. So it builds some, low term, like short term memory in your brain when you're entering into the mall. It makes you biased also that, without this advertisement, then things will be hidden inside such a huge universe of products, right? So this also becomes a space for what? Paid promotion. So whenever let's say some company wants to bring their product, so when outside a mall, whoever has gone to Ambience Mall in Gurgaon, you'll see a lot of billboards outside. So are those billboards for free? Anyone can go and put their things over there? No, right? Pay money for that, because that's a prime real estate. People are entering the mall through the main driveway and they are getting influence through those advertisements. This is also an important thing. But what Amazon is doing, that Amazon is advertising their categories with offers going on, and these are all nudges for you to click and go inside, right? And this is where they are e-commerce. The biggest pattern that you can observe is e-commerce is full of containers of nudges. So this yellow zone is a container of top deals of exchange, trending deals, another container. And these are small containers. Then again blockbuster deal container. Then another minimum 60% of containers. So they have actually classified their thing. Imagine it's like a huge Chandni Chowk market, but there are separate lanes for electronics, separate lanes for clothes. So they are classifying using that real world metaphor, try to put it in this whole thing. So when you are asked to design an e-commerce store, you have to look at these kind of UX patterns. These are not UI patterns, these are UX patterns. Here also you see a lot of containers. These are mixer grinder. It is not about Priti. It can be Priti, Philips and more. Whoever has paid them money, their name is going to come here, right? Then if you look at this one, Motorola, they must have paid money for them to appear in this kind of a huge important real estate like this. So this also has containers. So the way you design the containers, sometimes if you just keep on making the containers row after row after row, it becomes extremely boring and monotonous for people. So just like every lane can have different kind of a color, lighting, create a vibe of that place. So as you can see, this best gadget and appliance, what they have done is that they have 4 gadgets of different categories and one top selling smartphone thing. So they can also charge you different kinds of money for promoting your stuff in this platform. And that's how these platforms, they are making money, right? Like that. So again, container. This is another type of container. So these platforms, they are making money, right? Like that. So again,
do not have to rely on
this is another type of
borrowed
container.
architecture of the
So a set of four,
Nor do we have
and then a card.
luxury
Here what did we see? A set of 4 and a big
we
card,
work with
right?
and
And sometimes you are going to see,
nor do we have
and then okay, again see set of 4 and big card. You see this particular thing
others
and this thing, they are the same component in Figma. It's the same component, just replaced with different data, right? As you can see. So that's how they are going to scale this system to break the monotony. They are going to create different types of containers, and that's how they are going to see. This is also the same component, but just different things. When you go to eBay also you can go here, find your favorites, discover kaleidoscope of cards. See, this is what they have created this kind of discovery. So this is one way of one UX pattern. But then there is another UX pattern. Once you go inside something, let's say I go inside this yoga mat. Now then what happens is that I should also be able to go to the entire universe. That's why on the top I have all. I have all those things. They become part of my navigation. So when I go and hit inside these towels, on the top hand side, if you see, I can go to this mega universe of the entire e-commerce platform of Flipkart, right? That means although I'm in towel, I should be able to go to home and furnishing and wall lamp, and I should be able to go to sports books and more and gaming consoles. So for me to switch the context of this, look at window shopping thing, it's context of one product to other product I should be doing in Flip like this. That's how the navigation should be. So a pattern in UX we can say one product to other product I should be doing in
several institutions
that's how the navigation should be. So a pattern in UX we can say one product to other.
We should coordinate more closely in East Asia.
How the navigation should be.
Summit, G20, and the Indian Ocean Region Association. Honorable members in our interconnected world, G20 and the Indian Ocean, our shared challenges extend beyond our region. Terrorism has become a major threat.
Is that it's one click context change is a pattern. In Amazon also I am in the context of this,
And
that it's one
we
click
see in
context
India
change
with the
is a
clarity
pattern.
that comes.
In Amazon also I am in the context of NBR yoga mat. I can go to table tennis.
Changing
It brings me to the entire world of table tennis like that. I can go to eBay, and on the eBay also left hand side as you can see, I can go here shop by category, and from here I can go deeper. So the way these things come up might be different, but the UX pattern remains same. Same is when you're going to search. If you see, you can search based on categories. Isn't it exactly the same for Amazon? That you can search based on categories. Isn't it also the same for Flipkart? No, Flipkart they didn't use it. For Agio, they also didn't do it. But see, eBay and Amazon, they have this category defining thing. Now, where did Amazon define the category? Before the search. And then they define the category after the search. So this becomes a UX pattern that a search experience by pinpointing the category, so that you find within that category. I'll say, let's say I can go to stamps, and within stamps, rare. So it is going to find me rare stamps for me. That becomes. But look at the highest level jobs to be done. We are here to do shopping, but then as part of shopping, this particular experience is called discovery, right? This is discovery. When I am trying to find something with or without an intent, so this discovery becomes a larger UX pattern. For e-commerce, discovery works like this. If you guys know, and when you actually start working in the field, discovery is one of those huge parts that drives all user experiences, because we are in the world of information technology. We are getting a lot of data. Go to Spotify, all user experiences. Isn't discovery an important part of Spotify? Go to Spotify, right? But the way you discover stuff is different. So you have search. You are looking for music, but can you also not have that category drop down, choose Telugu, and then you search? This is where we are talking about UX pattern, which is in product above that. So are you guys now connecting UX pattern what it is? So for me, discovery is the problem to be solved. I can go to Netflix. Above that. So are you guys now connecting UX pattern what it is? Netflix also discovery is the problem to be solved. These people, they created discovery like this. But Netflix also has search. Titles, people, genre, and every time you search something, let's say horror, but Netflix also has search. I haven't even typed, but it has given me so many results, right? So the way this search result happened, that I could have typed humor also, right? So when I have typed H, Netflix doesn't know horror or humor, so it is mixing everything. If I go humor route, HUM, then it goes humor route, or human, right? See, now it will go humor route, but at the center, sense of humor. So this automatically populating the stuff as and when we are typing. Do you guys remember any common platform where the same thing happens? So this automatically populating, right? This happens here. In Spotify, does it happen? Do you guys remember if I write common platform where the same thing happens? See, Spotify also happens. So how the result of that pattern comes, the UI may look different, but the UX pattern is same. The UX pattern is when discovering through search, it automatically should populate the stuff that I'm looking at. That is a UX pattern, and we can easily use these kind of UX patterns from this common products. So we'll go more deeper inside all these things, but this is in a nutshell. The reason we are going into this is because we can use these as building blocks to design our own experiences. Now, need for UX design pattern. Why do we need UX pattern also? That user familiarity is something that we deep dived and we went through all these examples. Then usability. So when people are using Netflix, they are used to this kind of a way of things appearing. I can type thriller, and it's super extremely nice experience where I am just typing, and every single letter I add, full canvas of how many?
extremely nice experience
18 movies
where I am just
with
typing.
one letter.
Like,
The
and
movies keep on
every single
changing.
letter I had.
So this is extremely important, this kind of a UX pack. But how you want to use it in a context of e-commerce? Let's say now I look at here, I go to Amazon.in and I search yoga. This is also very powerful. But, it is giving me a set of these kind of things. Now, very powerful. What do you guys observe when you see this suggested thing? What is the one thing that you see as a pattern related to yoga? But look at the design detail here. What is the design detail? Yes, after typing, the bold part is coming. Be more specific. Suggestions are in bold, right? Suggestions are in bold. What you feed is not in bold, right? Look at Google. Suggestions are in bold, right? Goes to, because you have to specify it in your actual like work which you hand off. You have to specify these things. In Netflix, see, I am looking for, let's look at Spotify. I am asking for, let's say, roots. But it is not celebrating the opposite end. Do you see there is a break in the pattern? Because everything is mixed, right, in the same altitude. So we have to, as a designer, just look at this small nuance. We have to spend some time to create this pattern. That this is a pattern that we are suggesting based on our study from Amazon and Google. That the feed-in thing will be light. The suggested thing will be bold. There might be scenarios where the suggested thing is light and the feed-in thing is bold. You will just try to observe it today. Because search experience, you will feel what's in it. See, there are so many details in it. Sometimes in your product, let's say you're working on a XYZ kind of a product, where your search is as complex as this. See, look at the Google search result or search suggestion types. What do you observe here? Let me search. Yeah. What do you see here? What are the search result or search suggestion types? What are the search? These are search suggestions, right? So what are the types that you can observe here? Just in front of you. Like how we were talking about bold and non-bold. So either it is going to find you absolute references. If it has an image, it is going to render that image, right? But sometimes, like if I click on Tokyo Skytree, it will take me to Tokyo Skytree image, right, from here. But if I search again TOK, and if I look on Tokimaster, it will also take me to this. So this is a explicit search page, Tokimaster and all. But sometimes you will feed an image here, sometimes you will not feed an image here when you are confused what image to refer to. But the image is not on the first search result. See, Tokyo Swindlers, you have reference images for Tokyo Swindlers, right? And that's where Tokyo Swindlers comes with this image first. So your search result either will have image and text metadata in 2 layers, or it is not going to have image, it will just have the search icon and this. But complexity here begins in which order it should bring, right? So do you see any pattern in the order? I don't see actually. So this is where you have to go detail into these concepts that you are building, because the logic, creating that logic thing and the rational thing is fueled by the user need. So you can say that either it goes from most popular to least popular, most searched things with TOK, or it goes alphabetically. You have to give some logic, right? In which way it is sorted. Right. Without that logic, things will be here and there. I mean, you have no logic. Some things are coming, some things are not coming, like that. So this specific example here, and when you look at the Amazon experiences, look at yoga bat or yoga bar oats. So let us just look at this example here. Yoga mat 8 yoga bar muesli. So how do you think this experience can bring more value? A pattern which doesn't exist, but what if we want to create a pattern in search? So just don't get stressed. Typing yoga here, I am seeing yoga and then 10 options, right? But then out of these 10 options, what happens is that, see, if I click on yoga bar, I go to yoga bar and then I'm like, oh no, not this one. I go back and then again I do yoga, right? And then again I see a lot of options. Maybe I'm not sure if I have seen the same options before. And then now what do? Again click on something. If I don't like, I go back. So there is some kind of a friction here which can be solved through user experience. What kind of things that you can think of? Where the problem that we are identifying here is that, so in this kind of multiple reference, search reference option, this kind of a UX pattern, and if we are doing it for our own project, then we have to go back and forth, right? Maybe we can do yoga bar cashew, you know? Yeah. Search option should at every page. So you are saying, Ansh, that if I click on yoga bar cashew, then this drop down should stay. So I come here. Now when I click here, I have to, you know, remove it and then again say. So you are seeing inside every page you have the search references. So that's where this is a complex product coming up. You can solve it through multiple ways. One option is what, you know, Ansh, you are suggesting that because see, there are some set mindsets here that once you click something, enter through that keyword, right? It fills that keyword, and that's the, at that time, the other things, because they were recommended based on YOG, whatever you type. Now their relevance are gone. You're getting it, Ansh? But we cannot say here that you type YOG and these are the because now people can see yoga bar cashew. So one of my friends, he tried solving it in a very novel ways. What he did was, and this is the kind of problem that you will be asked in your interviews. This is or something similar to it. We'll try to see how you can, you know, think around something. So let's say, you know, yoga bar. So what he did is that on hover there is a preview state on the right. So you look, you have a fair idea, then you click. So what he did is to expanded this pattern on the right. Makes sense? Right? So this is a UX problem that we discussed. We tried to solve this problem. Right? So there are a lot of nuances inside, hidden inside all these things. So going back, what is consistency? Consistency is that when I am doing something, what I did for this particular page. Yeah, so in mobile version, you basically have the drop down, and I think it's long press with which you decided, but I don't know if he has worked on the mobile version. Also not sure if that platform will go to the mobile version also, but that's another problem which comes. So when we say consistency, when we work with your product managers will give you few feedback every now and then. One of the feedback will be your feature is not discoverable. So one of the problems that you have to solve is your feature not being discoverable. Okay. The second one is that too many clicks to get to what you want to do. Then the third thing that you will see is it doesn't look inconsistent. Inconsistent navigation. I will talk about inconsistent navigation. Right. And so these are some of the things, and the last one is that the hierarchy doesn't look nice. Hierarchy. So these are people, business people. They don't know anything about design, but they are human beings. They are from the business side. What is the problem that can happen for not being discoverable? Do you know what KPI is hampered? Adoption, you guys understand, right? Yeah, what I'm saying is that not being discoverable, the problem is you and your developers and your product managers, you worked on a feature, and then the feature is, let us say, look at this Spotify. We worked on a, or let's say this feature in Google. Yeah, let's say I am feeling lucky, but is I am feeling